What is good, everybody? It is South Bay Chris, and today I'm coming at you guys with another barber tutorial. This is going to be a mid-fade with some waves on top and a lineup. So the first thing we're going to do is we are starting off by combing out the hair. We're combing it in the direction that it wants to lay in. So as you guys can see, I'm combing it right here and I'm combing it out. And also by combing it out, it's just going to help get all like that scruffiness, help lay it down nice, just get it all combed out so it can be an easier, fresher cut. And as you guys can see, the waves are going forward. They're going so we're combing it with the grain, so the way the waves are growing, they're growing forward towards the front of his head. So that's the way we're combing it. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put in our first guideline, which is our bald guideline. And as you guys can see right where I ran that comb, that is where we are gonna put in our first bald guideline right there. Right where I'm pointing at the top of that C cup, at the top of that hook, that's where we're gonna put in our bald guideline, because this is gonna be a mid fade, so we want it to be nice and bald. So we're going in right here with our trimmers and we're putting in our first initial guideline. And make sure to take your time with this guideline. This guideline, you want it to be real nice and neat. Make sure to take your time. Really take your time. Make sure it's nice and neat, because this guideline will set the tone for the rest of your haircut. You want it to be as neat as possible so your haircut can be as neat and as clean as possible, and your fade could come out nice and clean. The neater that your guidelines are, the cleaner your fades are going to come out. That's just the way it works. You don't want it to be all choppy, all riggedy. Like, you don't want none of that. You really just want it to be nice and clean. That's what you want right there. And as you guys can see, we're going in, putting in that guideline. And the next thing we are going to do is we're going to put in the guideline on the other side. And as you guys can see, I'm pointing the comb right there at both at the first initial guideline that we put in on that side. You want to stand right in front of your client and then check the other side, and then just put in that guideline on the other side and make sure that it lines up evenly with the first side that we put in. So you want to stand right in front of them and just make sure that both bald guidelines line up on both sides. That way you can make sure that the fade is even and symmetrical on both sides. That is really important, that they line up and they meet up because you don't want one side to be higher than the other. So we're putting in that bald guideline on the other side, and we're matching it up with the guideline on the other side. So we're taking it all the way to the back. And with this bald line for this mid fade, you want it to go straight across but slightly slanted at the back, just so we could give ourselves a little bit more room in the back, because the back is more dense to fade. And now right here we are going in and we're balding out. We're getting rid of all that bulk underneath that bald guideline that we just put in. We're gonna bring all this down nice and smooth, nice and down to stubble. That's what this trimmer is gonna do. This is the Gamma hitter right here. So we're going in with our trimmers and just getting rid of all this hair, just getting rid of all this bulk, going over the same spots multiple times. That's what cutting hair is. It's a constant motion. You want, as you guys can see, I'm going up and down, up and down, up and down. You want to be constantly going up and down with the trimmer, just because that's the way you're gonna get all the hair nice and even. That's how we're gonna get it all down to stubble. Because if you just go over one pass, like that is not gonna do nothing. Like it's just gonna, you're still gonna leave like little hairs, and it's not gonna get it all down to nice and smooth to stubble. So you really just want to be going over it multiple times. And right here, I balded everything out. And you want to do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to show the other side, but now I'm just cleaning up that bald guideline that we put in earlier, making, like I said, going over it again, making sure that it's nice and neat, nice and even, so that the more neat my bald guideline is, the cleaner the fade is going to come out. And right here, I'm just going over the bald spots again, making sure that everything's nice and bald. And now I'm going in with the shaver, and we're gonna go up with the shaver. This is how you're gonna flick out. As you guys can see the motion I'm doing right there. That's how you flick out. You go up, flick out, go up, flick out. That's how you want to be. That's how we're gonna flick out with this shaver. And so what we're gonna do right here is, you don't want to go all the way up with the shaver, all the way to the top of the line. You want to just you really just want to because we're gonna flick out like right here where I'm running the comb. That's about where we're gonna flick out, about ½ an inch under that bald guideline, because we don't want to go all the way to the top, just because it'll create a harsh line that's hard to get out. So we're gonna flick out as I was showing you guys right there. We're flicking out right before we get to that, like ½ an inch under that line that you guys see right there where my finger's running. That's where we are flicking out. Right here where the comb is running, that's where we are flicking out with the shaver. You really just want to, because we don't want to create none of that harsh line. And right here where I'm balding out right here, you can go straight up and down. You don't have to worry about flicking out right there where I'm going right now, just because we want to get that all balded out. It's right when you get like near that line at the top, that you want to flick out, so we don't create a harsh like skin line that's hard to take out later on. So right here we're just going up and down, making sure that everything gets nice and smoothened out, making sure that everything is down to skin. And just make sure before you use the shaver to ask your clients if they can take the shaver, because some clients can't because they'll bump out. So right here I'm kind of going down with the shaver right there where I flick out. Where you flick out like half an inch below that line, you can also go down with it just to smoothen out that stubble into the skin. That'll kind of just make that transition, make sure that there's no little lines from skin into stubble. And now right here, I'm gonna go in with my clipper. This is my Ergo clipper, and we're gonna put in our next guideline, which is this length is called the half, and this is the lever open on the clipper. The lever is going to be open, and right there where I ran the comb, that's about how high we're gonna go with. That's how high we're gonna go with the clipper and create our next guideline. And this is the half and the lever open. And as you guys can see, I'm going straight up and down. And the motion right here, I'm gonna show you guys the motion that I'm doing to put in the guideline. Going straight up and down, straight up and down. Don't dig in like that. Don't dig in, because that's gonna dig in on the skin and pull their skin and cut them. You wanna just go, this is a fade blade, so you gotta be careful. You just wanna hold the blade flat and go straight up and down. Don't worry about no flicking or blending right now, because we're just setting in a guideline. So you're really just going up straight up and down with it. Straight up and down, straight up and down. And same thing like when I created that bald guideline earlier with this guideline, you want to just make sure that it's nice and neat, and make sure that it's not all sloppy or choppy, nothing like that. Like, you really just want to make sure that it's nice and neat, because the neater your guidelines are, the neater your fade is going to come out. That's just the way it works. That's just the way it is. So be real picky with your cut. Like, be real just like OCD with it. And right here we're in the back, and we're making the guideline a little bit thicker in the back, just because I said earlier that the hair is a little denser back there. So we're gonna make the guideline a little bit bigger, so we give ourselves a little bit more room to blend. And now right here, before we move on with our fade, I should have done this in the beginning, but it's all good. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna bring down the top to, this is gonna be the one open. So this is the one guard on the clipper, and the lever is open, and we're running the clipper in the direction of the waves, so with the grain. And so right here the waves are growing down towards the front of his head, so we're going down with it, make sure to go in the direction of the waves, because if you don't, you will mess up the whole haircut. So you really want to make sure that you're going in the direction in the way that the hair is growing with the grain, so you don't, because if you go against it, you're gonna patch it, you're gonna leave patches, and your client isn't gonna be happy. So you don't want to do none of that. So we're going with the grain. And right here, I'm gonna show you guys the back. So right here we got the cowlick, and the cowlick is like a 360. Like, the hair, everybody has a cowlick, and the hair grows in different directions. So right here the hair is growing down in the back, and it's growing to the side. So I'm going in all the directions that the hair is growing. So you really want to be cautious back there. Like, take a look at it, see where the hair is growing, and just go in that direction. Now we're gonna set up our base. Moving back onto the fade, we're setting up our base. This is the 1.5 open, and right here where I'm running that comb, right in like the parietal ridge area, this is like the ridge of the head where the head goes, like it curves and it goes into the top. But right there, we're gonna go up to like that high, and we're gonna flick out with it. So right here, as I'm showing you guys, I'm flicking out with the 1.5, and this is gonna be the 1.5 open that we're setting in our base with. And use that part of the guard that I just showed you to help you flick out. So I'm going up, flicking out, going up, flicking out. You really just want to go up and flick out with it. That's pretty much what we're doing, and we're constantly combing and cutting. Boom. And you see that I was doing that real slow right there. You don't want to be moving slow like that. Like a lot of the new barbers, they're like going one stroke with it. Like, no, you want to be like how I'm showing you guys right here, just moving with the clipper, like going up and down, flicking out. Because if you're just going one stroke at a time, like, that's not going to cut nothing. So you really just want to be moving with the clipper, like really just get that nice smooth stroke in there, and constantly going up. And as soon as you're right there, like at that ridge, just flick out. So we're going, the base is about like 1 inch to 1.5 inches wide. And right here, I'm gonna kind of show you guys like the motion from a different angle. See, we're going in right here, and I'm combing. So as you guys can see, I'm going up and down. And as once I get to the top, I'm not digging into the top of his head. I'm kind of like, I'm flicking out with it. and I'm constantly combing and cutting. Make sure to always be combing and cutting as I'm doing right there. Have that comb or that brush on the other hand so you could brush or comb the hair down, because if not, it'll start to like scrunch up, and you really just want to like lay that hair down so you get a smooth fade and everything is nice and even. And right here we're setting up our base with the 1.5 open. This is the 1.5 open, and we're going in and we're setting it up real nice and good. And now what we are gonna do is we're gonna kind of smooth the top into the base with the 1 open. Well, this is what we set this was what was on the length that was on top, and we could even close it a little bit. And right there on that ridge area, you kind of go down with it. We're going with the grain, and this helps blend, like with waves, this helps blend the top into that 1.5. You could use like the 1 and just kind of go down with it, and this will lay the hair down and blend it even better into the 1.5. And we're not going to use clipper over comb here. We were just flicking with that 1.5 into the top. Like with waves, you don't really need to use clipper over comb. It was that 1.5. And now right here that we got our base in and we got our guideline in with the lever open, we're gonna separate it into 2 little sections just so it's easier for you guys. So we got section 1 and section 2. We're gonna fade out section 1 first. I'm gonna start by fading out that guideline that we created with the lever open by going little by little with the lever. So this is how you fade out that half. So we start open and close it. We're gonna close it 4 times. 1. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So we're closing it, and it has notches. The Ergo has notches, or if you don't have notches, we're closing the lever 4 times. But if you have a Master or Ergo, we're closing it notch by notch. And pretend this is the line that we're flicking out. We're gonna pass the line and flick out. Pass the line, flick out, holding the blade flat, passing the line and flicking out. Make sure to pass that line. So we start under the line, pass the line, and flick out. Under the line, pass the line, and flick out. That's what you really want to be doing. We don't want to dig in like this. We're not attacking the line like that. We don't want to do that. We're starting under the line, laying the blade flat, and just passing the line and flicking out. And it's just, and you don't want to be barely like hitting the line like I'm showing you right there. Like you don't want to just be barely tapping that line. Like you want to fully pass that line. Like what a lot of beginners do too is they'll just be barely hitting the line, kind of scared to go up. No, you got to pass that line like I'm showing you right there and flick out. Pass that line, flick out. That's how you want to do it. So we're gonna start by closing the lever 1. So we started with the blade open, and right here we're on section 1, the first section I showed you guys earlier. We started with the blade open, and we're passing that line and flicking out, passing that line, and you can go all the way to like that top line and flick out. We're passing the line. Now we close the lever again, pass that line and flick out. So right here we're halfway with the lever, and we're passing out that line, flicking out. Now we close it again. So this is the 3rd time we closed it. We're past halfway now, and so we started open, and like I said, you're going right under where you just left off, passing that line and flicking out, passing that line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it's getting lighter and lighter. And now right here, fully closed. So now that line is just gonna come out real nice and smooth. And right here we are passing that line and flicking out, passing. And as you guys can see, it's pretty much blending out. So we started open and we closed it little by little, and that's how you blend out that half guideline, the guideline that we created with the lever open, no guard, that we're fading out right now. That's how you blend it out. You start open, and right here we're back with our trimmers, and we're just flicking at any little line that we may see that's left from the bald guideline into the half. And now we're right here on section 2, and same thing. So we're like in the back side of the head in the back, and same thing. We're starting with we closed the lever once. Now this is the lever closed halfway. So this is the 2nd time we closed the lever, and we started with the lever open. This is no guard on the clipper. But right here we're passing that line that you see, that bald guideline, and we're flicking out. Passing the line, flicking out. Passing the line and flicking out. Now we close the lever again. It's the 3rd time we closed the lever, so we're past halfway now. And going right under where we just left off and passing that line that you guys see right there and flicking out and as you guys can see, it's starting to lighten up more and more and more. So we did that first section and we did that second section. You can separate it into 2 little sections on each side like this, just so it's easier for you guys, so you don't get really lost. And now right here, we fully close the lever, and now we're going attacking that line right under where we just left off and passing that bald line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it's coming out. The fade is coming out. That bald line is coming out, and just as you can see, it's a constant motion. It's not just passing it one time. I'm like constantly passing it, constantly going. So now right here, same thing, just we're still closed and we're just like passing that line and flicking out. Passing that line and flicking out. And now right here, we're gonna be fading out the base. So we're gonna go back in with our 1.5 guard. This is gonna be the 1.5 guard open. And we're gonna clean up that base that we put in earlier. And right here where I'm running the comb at, that's where we're gonna flick out with the 1.5 guard open. And we're just going back in, passing that line, and then going up to that spot and flicking out. Going straight up and flicking out. And right here, I close the lever on the 1.5 guard, and right where I'm running the comb, that's where we're gonna flick out, right under where we left off with the 1.5 guard open. So we have the 1.5 guard closed right here, and we're going right under where we left off, and we're just passing that baseline and flicking out. Passing that baseline and flicking out. And just, it's a constant comb and cut motion. Comb and cut. Go straight up, pass the line, and flick out. Comb, cut, go straight up and pass the line and flick out. That's what you want to be doing right there. And now we're going to slap on the 1 guard, and we just open the lever. So we have the 1 guard open, and right where I'm running the comb, that's where we're going to be flicking out. So we're flicking out right under where we left off with the 1.5 closed. So the 1.5 closed blends right into the 1 open. Right here, as you guys can see, I'm passing that baseline and I'm flicking out. And right here, my fingers, that line in between my fingers, pretend that's the line we're flicking out, and we're passing that line and just flicking out. So we start under it, pass it, and flick out. And then we're doing that now on the head. And now right here, we close the lever halfway. So we have the 1 guard halfway, and right there where I'm running the comb, that's where we're gonna be flicking out, just right under where we were flicking with the 1 open. So we went 1 open, now we're at the 1 halfway. And with the 1 guard, always with the 1 guard, you close it twice. You close it halfway, you start open, you close it halfway, and you fully close it. So right here we're halfway, and now we're gonna go fully closed. So we went open, halfway, now fully closed, and we're gonna be flicking out right there, right under where we just left off. And you're gonna be passing that line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it's gonna start to lighten up more and more and more. We're passing that line and flicking out. And now, and same thing, we're just still going in with the 1 guard close and just passing that line and flicking out, combing and cutting, combing and cutting. The more you comb, the better, because it continues to lay that hair down, and it makes the fade a lot smoother and a lot better and just a lot cleaner. So we're constantly combing and cutting right there. Combing and cutting, that's the 1 guard close. And now from the 1 guard close, that's gonna blend right into the half guard fully open. And we're gonna, in order to blend out with the half guard, we're gonna close it 4 times. So like, as you guys can see right there how I'm closing it, I close it 4 times. So if there's notches, you're closing it all the way 4 times. If there's no notches on like a wall or something like that, you just close the lever 4 times. And right here, I start with the lever open, and I'm just passing that line and flicking out. And right there where I have running the comb, that's where we're flicking at. And just passing that line and flicking out. And now right here, I close the lever once, and we're passing that line, flicking out, combing and cutting, combing and cutting. So right here, we have the lever closed once. So we went from the 1.5 guard to the 1 guard to the half guard. And right there, we close the lever again. So now we are halfway closed on the half guard. And we are passing that line and flicking out. And right there, I close the lever again. So now we've closed the lever 3 times. We're gonna close it 1 more time, but we're passing that line right where we just left off and flicking out. And as you guys can see, that fade is coming out. And right there, I fully close the lever. So that's the 4th close. And now we're just passing that line again and flicking out. And as you guys can see, that fade is blending out right there in the first section. And we're combing and cutting. And now right here, I'm gonna grab some powder from LYC Naturals. This is like an all natural talc powder. I use this versus the other ones because the other ones have like chemicals in it and stuff, and this one's all natural. So I sprinkle some talc right there on my hand, on the top of my hand with a glove on. And as you guys can see, it's just sprinkles. And what this is gonna do, I'm gonna rub the trimmer on that talc. And what this is gonna do is I'm gonna rub the trimmer on it, and I'm gonna put in my edge with that. And what that's gonna do is gonna create like a nice like little ash line effect and help me see my edges better, making them pop more and making the cut pop more. And as you guys can see, I'm running the trimmer while it's on, just like I'm showing right there. Running it while it's on, just gliding it across my hand with a little bit of the sprinkles of talc, and then I'm tapping my lines right there. And as you guys can see, it leaves like that white, like crisp line effect, and then it just helps you see the lines better. It makes the fade pop more, and what that's gonna do is just gonna help you see more details in the fade, and it's just gonna allow you to get that fade even blurrier. And that's pretty much, that's what that little trick does, and it just gives like that white ash line effect, making the lines pop more so you can see them better. And now right here, we're gonna go back to the back side, and we're gonna go to like section 2 right here on the side. We're gonna fade this out, and same steps as we did earlier. We're just repeating the process. We're starting with the 1.5 guard open, kind of cleaning up our base, what we put it in with, going up and flicking out, passing that line and flicking out, passing that line and flicking out, and constantly combing and cutting. We're cleaning it up, and now we close our lever, so we're at the 1.5 closed, and right there. Now I'm going right under where I just left off with the lever open, and I'm passing that line and flicking out. Passing that, and right here we're going up about 1 inch and then flicking out. And then as we drop the guards, we start to go lower and lower, as we don't go as high when we're flicking out. But we're always constantly passing that line, and this is the 1.5 guard closed. And now from the 1.5 guard closed, we have the 1 guard open. So it's the 1 guard right here. So we go 1.5, 1, and then we're gonna go half guard. But right now we are on the 1 guard open, and we're flicking out right under where we just left off with our 1.5 guard closed. And I'm constantly combing and cutting, and pretend that's the line we're flicking out. I pass the line and flick out, pass the line and flick out. Constantly just go at it. And same thing, still got the 1 guard open, passing that line and flicking out. And now right here I have the 1 guard midway, so we just closed it halfway. So remember, the 1 is the guard we close twice. We start open, we close it once in the middle, and then we close it once all the way. And right here we have the 1 guard halfway, and we're flicking out. And now we just closed the 1 guard, so we're at the 1 guard fully closed. So we went 1 guard halfway, now 1 guard fully closed, and we're passing that line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it's starting to lighten up. And now we are on the half guard. And remember, the half guard, we're closing it 4 times. We're closing 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. So that's right there where I ran the comb. That's about where we're gonna flick out with the half guard. And with the half guard, we start open with the lever open, and we're gonna close it notch by notch, or close it 4 times. So we close it once right there. So now we've closed the lever once. We started open, and we're passing that line and flicking out. And just gonna continue passing that line and flicking out until it fully blends out. And now we've closed it twice, so we're with the half guard halfway. All right. Half guard halfway right there, and just passing that line and flicking out, passing that line and flicking out. And now we've closed the lever. This is the 3rd time we've closed the lever. Combing and cutting, passing that line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it's blending out. And now we're closing the half guard all the way. And now we're passing that line and flicking out, combing and cutting, passing that line and flicking out. And as you guys can see, it is blending out. So now section 2 is blended out. And you can work in the 2 sections how I separated it. You can do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to show the other side of the fade because it's the same thing, but you can do the same steps. And right here, we have this is no guard, just the blade and the lever is open, and I'm just detailing. I'm just going back and attacking like that baseline with the blade open, and that's just cleaning it up, smoothing it out the fade even more. And right here, I'm going in with some mousse, and what this mousse is gonna do is gonna lay down the waves real nice. And this brand is called Beyond the Zone Noodlehead Firm Hold Mousse, and you can get this at Sally's Beauty Supply. And right here, I applied the mousse throughout the head on top, and now I'm distributing all the mousse on the head and throughout the waves evenly with my hands. I'm just making sure it all gets in there, and just applying it all nice and evenly, laying it all down. And what the mousse is going to do, like I said, it's going to lay down the waves. It's going to lay them down real nice. And we're about to blow dry it and use our wave brush to dry it and lay them down. So right here, I'm going with the wave brush and the blow dryer. And what I'm going to show you guys not to do right here, as you can see, I'm aiming the blow dryer straight down into my hand. Don't do that on the head. Don't aim the blow dryer like straight down, just like that. I'm showing you guys right there, because that's gonna be real hot, and that's gonna be too hot. What you really want to do is like kind of glide over the head with the blow dryer and the brush, so it's not like super hot and not burning their skin. How I'm doing right there, how it's demonstrated right there, that's how you want to do it. So as you can see right here, I'm just kind of like gliding with the blow dryer in the air, and I'm not like aiming the blow dryer straight down to the head, because that's gonna be way too hot and it's gonna burn them. So just like glide that blow dryer over it and brush in the direction that the waves want to go. So as you guys can see, his waves are growing down, so I'm brushing them down, and just keep brushing pretty much until all the mousse dries, and it's all the waves are laid down and everything, and basically brush and dry up until it's not wet anymore. And now right here, now that we laid all the waves down and laid the hair down, I'm gonna go in with my barber taper comb. And as you guys can see right there, I'm gonna use the tip of that taper comb in my thinning shears, and that's how I'm gonna get out dark spots, using that tip and the thinning shears. And you guys are gonna see right here that, so I close the thinning shear and I pull out, close the thinning shear and I pull out on the tip of the comb. And so we're gonna use the tip of the comb to pick up any dark spots. As you guys can see right there, I'm going in on any little dark spot. And what this technique is gonna do is just gonna get out any little dark spots. This is like literally the detailing of the fade, and this is what's gonna make your fade. Like, this is what's really gonna make like your fade yours. Like, how well you detail it is what's really gonna separate you from everybody else, is how well you detail the fade. So this is just a technique on how to get dark spots out. And now we're gonna go in and we're gonna do our front lineup. All right, so we're gonna go in with our one guard, and the top is all even, it's a one open. So we're gonna go in with our one guard closed right here, and we're gonna just hit like the front tips of the front hairline, just to kind of lay it down a little bit shorter than the rest of the hair, just so we can get a crispier lineup, and just make sure that the lineup is real nice and smooth and real nice and crispy. And now right here, I'm gonna go in on that front lineup, and make sure to, before we get into the lineup, make sure to stand in front of your client, directly in front of your client. Make sure that his head is nice and relaxed. Make sure that he's nice and relaxed. Make sure that he's not like wrinkling his forehead or looking at you or on his phone or doing something else. Just make sure that he's nice and relaxed. I usually tell my clients, like, hey bro, can you close your eyes? Like, hey bro, close your eyes. Like, just relax your forehead. Like, because sometimes clients want to wrinkle their foreheads. If they're wrinkling their foreheads, you're not going to get a nice crispy lineup. So just make sure that they're nice and relaxed. Make sure that they're closing their eyes, and then be directly in front of them so you can make sure you get a straight lineup. And now we're going in and we are tapping at our line, and making sure to not push his lineup far back at all. We want to just keep it as natural as possible, but as crispy as possible. And as you guys can see right there, it's a comb and cut motion, as you guys are going to see right here. And I'm kind of like adjusting his head, making sure that it's nice and straight, nice and leveled, so we can get a nice even lineup, a nice straight lineup. And I comb and tap, and as you guys can see, I'm going over the lineup multiple times. I go over the same spot multiple times. That's what you really want to do with the lineup, because you want to get it as crispy as possible. You don't want to just go over it one time. It's like you want to comb the hairs, cut, comb the hairs, cut, and then comb the hairs again, and whichever hairs hang over the line, you cut them again. And you pretty much keep doing that until there's no more hairs hanging over the line, and you really get like that nice crisp lineup. And so it's a constant motion. You want to constantly be going over it. As you guys can see right here, I'm reaching that right corner, and right here you really want to just go over it multiple times. And as you can see, I'm going over that same spot. I've gone over it a bunch of times already, but literally that's what a lineup that's what the lineup takes. It takes time. You got to be patient with it, and you just got to really be detailed and OCD with it. Like, you really got to be OCD with it, because this is like the most important part of the haircut. You can have a great fade and a messed up lineup, and it's gonna the client's not gonna come back to you. So this is the most important part, so take your time. And as you can see right here, I'm working in on that right corner, making sure it's like that nice 90-degree sharp angle. Like, you really want it to be sharp, like that 90 degrees. Like, you want it to be sharp, I'm telling you guys. And you get that sharpness by going over it multiple times. And as you guys can see right there, I was rubbing my hand on the talc trick. So you sprinkle the talc on your hand, and that's how I get like that white ash line effect. And that ash line is going to help you see the lineup, making sure that it's nice and even, making sure that it's nice and straight. It's going to help see your lines more. It's going to enhance the lines, making them look crispier and everything, making the fade pop more, making just the overall cut pop. And right here, I'm going in on that corner again, and now I'm going to work my way onto the left side. And with the left side, same thing as the right side. So whether you start on the left side or the right side, whichever side you start on, just always make sure, and once you move on to the next side, that the next side is even with the side you just did previously. So you can start on the left side or the right side. And right here, I started on the right side. So now we are working our way to the left side. And as you guys can see right there, I stand directly in front of him, and I'm making sure that it's everything is nice and symmetrical. Everything is nice and even. We don't want nothing to be lopsided or anything like that. We want our lineup to come out as smooth as possible, as symmetrical as possible. We want it to really be nice and even and look real good on him. And right there, I'm tapping on the right side. I saw a little bit of hairs hanging off. It was kind of messing with my line. I'm tapping that. And now right here, I'm going in with my razor. And with the razor, you want to pull the skin and just glide the razor. It's like you're not laying the razor blade flat, but it's almost flat. You don't want to hold it straight down. You want to kind of lay it. It's like not flat, but almost flat, and you're just like gliding into the lines. And this is a game, like this is a major like key right here. Like, use the razor. I know some barbers don't use the razor. Use the razor, because that's gonna get rid of all that stubble and really get that lineup like nice and crispy, and it's gonna help it last a few extra days versus if you just go in with the trimmer. So always use the razor, and make sure to pull that skin and lay that blade and just glide towards the lines and get rid of that stubble. And now right here, I'm going in with my ergos, and the lever is closed on the clipper, and we are just gliding over the top of his waves. And this is a major key. Like, this is what's gonna make the difference on the cut too. Like, this is a major key with waves. You want to glide over it, because this is gonna get all those like hairs that stand up, all those stragglers, all those hairs that just spike up on the waves. Like, this is gonna smoothen it out and really make the waves and the cut just pop. Like, especially with wave cuts, like, you really want to just make sure that you do this, because these are the little details, like the little details that's going to make the difference. Like it's going to make a big difference, as you guys can see. And as you guys can see, like, that cut is clean, and I haven't even enhanced it yet. And I'm going to show you guys how to use enhancements. I haven't used enhancements yet, but like, the cut is already clean without the enhancements. And the enhancements that I'm going to use, I'm going to use a Tomb 45 semi-permanent, the no drip, the dye. And that'll usually last, if your clients, let them know, like, it'll usually last like 4 to 5 days if they don't wash it. And you could sweat and everything, and it's not gonna run off or anything like fibers. And the machine that I'm using is an air compressor, and it's a airbrush machine. So it's like an airbrush gun, and I put the no drip in the airbrush gun, and then I spray it out like that. But as you guys can see, the cut doesn't even need enhancements, and that's how you want it to be. You want it to look fresh without the enhancements, and the enhancements is just there to enhance the cut. You don't want it to fix a cut or make, like, you don't want to apply enhancements and somebody's lineup not be there when it comes off. Like, you don't want them to go home like, damn, where'd my lineup go? Like, when the enhancements come off, like, you don't want that to happen. As you guys see, the lineup was already crispy and dark before I applied it. And right here, you want to kind of apply it, like, you don't want to be too close when spraying the gun. You want to kind of get from a little bit of a distance, and then just apply it little by little, lightly. Like, spray it on lightly. Like, you don't want to, because if you overdo it, you're gonna mess yourself up. Like, you don't want to overdo it. And as you guys can see, it's just like I'm applying it very lightly on, and it's like, as you guys see, it's like the icing on the cake. It's just taking the cut to a whole nother level. Like, damn, like just check it out. That's all, and it's just darkening up the edges a little bit, as the cut didn't need it. But once you apply the enhancements, it just takes the cut to even another level, and it's just, like, it's looking fresh. And it'll darken up any little light spots that your client may have. And now right here, we're going in with our trimmers again, and I always finish the cuts with this technique. This is a good technique if, like, you're taking pictures or video of your cut. Sprinkle the talc on your hand again, and then go over it with your trimmer, and go over all your lines with the trimmer. Again, I always finish my cuts by going over all my lines with the trimmer and the talk trick, and that just makes the cut look like at a whole nother level again, like leaving like that white ash line effect. And we don't want to have like the thick white lines. You don't want like crazy thick white lines. Like, you just want like those subtle, clean, like white ash lines. Like, that's all you want. Like, we just want it like very subtle but clean. Like that's what makes the biggest difference on the cut. Like, real subtle, clean white ash lines, and like, it just makes the skin pop and like have that contrast from like the skin into the hair and the lineup. Like, it just makes everything pop, as you guys can see right there. And right here, I'm just going over all my lines, making sure that everything is nice and straight, making sure that everything is nice and crisp. And right here, I'm tapping it on the side, and you guys can see I get like that real subtle white line, and it makes the cut look real clean. And now right here, I'm putting talc on my neck duster, and then I'm just like sprinkling the talc a little bit, kind of like blending it, like almost like a little makeup brush kind of, and you're just blending it into the skin part of the fade, and that just makes the skin a little bit wider, making the fade just pop more, because it makes that transition just pop more. And right here, I'm just cleaning up the neck with the trimmer. And that is the cut, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and make sure to comment down below. I'm definitely going to be posting a lot more content, so make sure to share this video if this video helped you out. I'm going to be posting more tutorials, and everybody was hitting me up like, bro, when is the next tutorial dropping? Bro, where's the next video? Well, here it is, guys. We got a clean mid fade. We got those waves on top, nice and clean, nice and laid down. We got a clean, crispy lineup. As you guys can see, the lineup is nice and symmetrical. Everything is just fire, guys. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Just remember, guys, that you guys can all get your cuts like this too. You just got to take your time with the cuts. You got to be real precise with it. You got to be just real OCD with the cuts, and just really treat this work like your masterpiece, like your artwork. Take pride in your work. Like, take pride in that when this person walks out, that you're gonna be proud of what you put out. That everybody's gonna be like, damn, that's a fresh cut, and that's what you want. And just be consistent, guys. Put in the work. It's gonna come. And thank you, guys. I'm out.